Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I want to talk about one of my clients. They're having better rankings for the keyword AC maintenance, and I'm talking about share of local voice. That's the SOLV that I always talk about in all my videos. So to start, what is SOLV? So if you ever Google anything like AC maintenance, Albany, or doctors near me, or dentist near me, etc., you're going to get three organic map pack listings that show up on desktop, mobile, and tablet. That is the share of local voice. That's the top three that gets the most impressions, that gets the most clicks, that gets the most phone calls. Those are the dots you want to be. The higher the percentage you have for SOLV, the more leads you're going to get per month. So now that we set up that stage, here is the trend line for my clients. The keyword here is AC maintenance. I've redacted their name and their coordinates. This is an 11 by 11 grid, 6 miles. And as you can see here, way down in February, they had a share of local voice of below 2%. So 2% out of 100% of all the dots that I'm tracking within a 6 mile radius, they had only 2% of the time, actually even below that, that they were on page one of Google. Now, at the end of March, they're at almost 12%. So we've actually been improving that, and that line continues to grow for them. Now, what I do for all of my clients is when I'm tracking their keyword rank performance, I'm using Local Falcon, and I can see the top competitors who are in that exact same grid. So a lot of times people will reach out to me for local SEO help, and they'll give me competitors that they know of, which is always helpful. But I can see from a Google ranking perspective who is the top competitor, who's getting the most clicks potentially, and also the most phone calls because they have the highest rank for the keywords that you're going after. So the way I look at this is that we started off well below that 2% mark for share of local voice. And we've just been continuously climbing, slowly taking some share away from some of the top competitors. Again, we are at that red line and we're trying to close the gap now against the purple line. So I've redacted all of their names, but that's really how I look at this and say, okay, top competitors, we're growing a little bit. Therefore, we're taking some share. It's very marginal. But if you can start to flip some of the dots, then that's going to lead to more wins for you and some losses for your competitors. Here's how the map is changing. So I have the map from February 8th, March 11th, and then March 25th, just to kind of show the progression. Now, every time I run a local Falcon scan, I get that most up to date when I ran the scan heat map. So again, the dots that really matter are dots 1, 2, and 3. So again, on February 8th, I had one dot that was position 2. That's share of local voice. That's only one dot out of all of these that was on page 1. Then in the middle of the month, we had more dots entering that position 1, 2, and 3. And now at the end of March, we have a lot more dots now. They're position 1 and 2. And the way that the map is really critical is that I keep looking for these dots that I can flip, those 4, 5, and 6 dots. If I can flip those dots and get them to position 1, 2, or 3, that's an automatic page one of Google listing for my client exactly in that area where a searcher might be searching for them to get more phone calls for their business. So changes that I made to the Google My Business account. There's a lot of things that I do for my local SEO clients. So this isn't just everything, but I think this is a great starting point if you're looking for ways to improve your keyword rankings and hopefully get more phone calls too. So to start, run local Falcon scans to get the baseline share of local voice. So you have to start there first. Run the scan for your desired location and document that and say, okay, we're at a 2% share of local voice. Next, I removed unnecessary secondary categories. So um, if you were, let's say, a moving company, I'll give them as the example. Your primary category should be a mover or moving a service, whatever the primary category is. But secondary categories are things like piano movers, junk removals, etc. It's really important that if you're a local SEO specialist or company, talk to your client, figure out where their price points are. If they say, "Hey, Greg, we rarely get piano requests," and for us, it's not even worth it because maybe the price point or how long it takes or anything like that. If that's the case, then remove that as a secondary category because you want to create the primary category as so strong that every time you have a secondary category, it kind of dilutes it a little bit. So be sure to know your business, talk to your client, and if it's unnecessary, remove it. Next, update the description. So the Google My Business, you have 750 characters to work with. And I got really specific around AC related terms, and AC maintenance was one of them. Next, create question and answer content. So they didn't have any question and answer content before. I went in, I created a bunch of questions that I saw were either trending within Google or Google Trends, or just in general that I was seeing within my competitor review, and I added them to their account. Next, I uploaded photos throughout the month. So that's both those are photos for their photo section, but also Google the update section also within Google My Business. So all throughout the month is sharing photos of what they do. Next, now I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but I did play with geo tags. This is a pretty debatable tactic. I see it online a lot. Do geotags work? Do they not? I recommend just give it a try. There's websites that you can use if you're not located in that area where you can change the coordinates when you upload your photos, and then just see if it makes a difference. I don't know if it did. This is just one of many things that I did throughout the month, but I didn't really notice much of a change from that specific. It's really everything that I did as a collective that helped improve. Next, I made plenty of updates around AC maintenance. So I talked about the weather, talked about getting ahead, talking about now's the time to schedule your AC maintenance visit for your home or for your office before it gets hotter. So I kind of created like a bit of urgency and made the updates make sense. Then basically run multiple. So I basically did like weekly or even sometimes twice a week or three times scans for that keyword because I want to see if I'm improving the share of local voice. And the main dots I'm looking at are positions 4, 5, and 6. And by looking at those dots, I'm saying, okay, well, what can I do to maybe flip them? So that's my next point, which is change the service areas. A lot of times we kind of start up too broad. The distance is too large for how we're, targeting. I talk all the time about I have clients in New York City where we're really targeting neighborhoods, like Park Slope in Brooklyn or Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn. We're not just targeting Brooklyn. There's always pockets of neighborhoods in there. Same thing for my client. I think sometimes it's really easy to target the big metros, especially in an area that's 10, 20 miles, etc. Instead, get really specific. Look for those dots that you can flip those smaller towns. Try to flip them. That's actually going to lead more of return on investment for your side because you're going to be on page one there. And again, maybe the town only has 10 or 20,000 people, but you start flipping those dots and you flip maybe like five or six of them. Now that's potentially 50,000, 60,000 population now that you're going to be in front of potentially. Not, of course, not everyone in the town searching for that, but the idea is that you're getting into these pockets where you have these populations rather than saying, how do we go after the metro that has 400,000 people and you're constantly fighting that battle to get into that top three and you just don't get there. It's better to get into the smaller pockets to kind of create those early wins. And of course, there's more than just simply everything that I listed off. There's some secondary changes I want to talk about too. I don't know how much of this influences a Google ranking, but my local SEO strategy is not just Google, even though it's about 90% of the focus and the leads. There's still other things that I do. They unfortunately don't have an Apple Business Connect account, so there's nothing about that within this presentation. But for Bing, I sync everything that they do from Google or that I make into Google into Bing that I can. Now, there's secondary things that Bing has that Google does not. They have something called like a special announcement, so I like to include that too to try to see if I can create more like a click worthy profile to influence more people going to the website. I embedded their Google My Business Map directly into the footer. I always thought that was a good strategy. Got them listed on a third-party site called Trust Index. It's one of my favorite third-party tools. I love how it displays the reviews. It's just a good way to kind of also diversify away from Google reviews. So whether you have Yelp and Foursquare and TripAdvisor or anything else like that, it can actually bring all those reviews into one spot. But you can also use Trust Index to get reviews. And of course, there's more. But really, in summary, I think the thing that matters most is this view. I think it's the easiest to see. The share of local voice percentage increasing. We went from below that 2% mark, and then we got all the way up to basically 12%. Now, again, that's 12% out of 100. And I know that there's some competitors here who are hovering around, let's say, like the 25, 30% mark. So the way I look at this is saying, okay, well, generally speaking, there's probably going to be that cap of around 20 to 30% for share of local voice. So we're not going to really, beat that number because there might be like a cap on like how many competitors there are in the area. But I know though that there's still room for us to grow. If the top is 25 to 30% and we're at 12%, what would 20% look like for my client for phone calls and website clicks and leads, et cetera? So that's kind of the way I look at this. I'm looking at how the trend line is changing. I know that the weather's getting warmer. It should lead to them more phone calls for their business, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, or you can visit tmblast.com. You can fill out the contact form. Happy to take a look. Anyway, thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the next one.